A very good morning, dear students. I hope you all are fine. So, in today's session, we are going to continue with chapter second part. In last video, we have completed first part of chapter second. So, we are continuing with the next session. It is chapter 2 and the topic is email. What do you mean by email? Basically, it's a medium or way to send or receive the messages across the internet. By using the internet, we can use the email services. Email is mainly used for business communication purpose. And why it is used? Because it is a inexpensive. It means less expensive and requiring only internet connection. So the definition is email is a digital mechanism for exchanging the messages by using internet or intranet communication platform. Why email is popular? What are the reasons email is so much popular for a business environment? There are so many reasons. First one, it saves paper. There is no paper requirement. There is no need to write email on paper. People can type message directly on computer system. Email are delivered very fast over a network system. Email can be sent to more than one person on the same time. And the major thing, email costs less, so people do not need to pay on every email transaction. The only pay for internet connection is required, otherwise nothing they need to pay. Now next part is, so these are the reasons for using the email account. Next is how to create an email account. For creating an email account, we need a particular browser. And browser can be either, it can be a website like Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, and that website will open in a browser. When you create an account of any one of these websites, your account is called web-based email account because you are using the services of website. That's why it is also known as web account. So how to create an account? So following steps will be followed. Let's know how to create. Step 1. Open a web browser. Like any browser you can use like Microsoft Edge, Mozilla, Firefox, Google Chrome. Here we are using Google Chrome. Afterward, type the URL www.gmail.com and you will write the title in the address bar. You will write the URL in the address bar. So the particular page will be open related to Gmail. Afterward, what will you do? You will select the option create account. Here is create account option. You can select the particular option. When you click here, that particular form will be open. Registration form will be appear. Fill that registration form and click to the next option. Next option is given at bottom. Just click on that next option. Afterward, it will ask for verification. So now verify your details. If the details entered by you are already correct, then your email account will be created and a welcome screen will be appear like this. So after creating an account, now how to sign in a Gmail account? It means you have created already your account. How to log in your account? So to log in account, firstly, you need to open the Gmail web page. And for that, to sign in Gmail, open the web page of Gmail by typing gmail.com in web browser. Afterward, enter your user ID, that's where you have created, and then enter the password in the password box, and then click on sign in button, and the email account window will be open in front of the user. In email account, we can send mail, we can receive the mail. For sending a mail, which steps will be followed? The major function of email sending is called compose. So to send an email, following step will be followed. First one, sign in your Gmail account. Afterward, click on compose button. And the window will be appear. That window you are looking, that will be appear in that the column will be 2cc bcc, it will be appear. So after appearing that window, what will you do? In 2, what will you write? This contains the email address of user to whom you are sending the email. Next is CC. CC full form is carbon copy. If you want to send the same message to any other person, in that case, it will enable you to send copy of email to many recipients, and all CC recipients are visible to all other recipients. And BCC will perform the same function, only difference is there, it is a blind carbon copy. It means the address of other recipients will not be visible to anyone. That's why what happened, we are using the BCC option. It means the other person cannot be able to see the person who other is receiving the email. And in subject you will write the title of your email, what sir you want to write. In text area you will enter the detailed message. This is the area where you write the message. And afterward, one attachment option is given. If you are looking on upper screen, this is the attachment option. So in attachment option, if you want to attach any file, in that case click on that option. It will allow you to enter the file to the email and you are about to send. Afterward, enter the detail in new message window and click on the send button. At bottom, if you are looking on the main window, send option is there. After doing all such process, click on send button and your message will move to the particular recipients whose address you have written in 2CC and BCC option. Now see, the to attach a file with an email, click the attach button and open window will be appear. Which type of window will be appear? And select the file. Like this type of account is there. So in that window, what will you do? Window will be appear. Just open the file, which file you want to attach. Next part is how to view an email. To check your mail, to receive an mail, you are having the option of inbox. So firstly sign in your Gmail account. This window will be appear. Afterward, click on inbox option on the left side of window to view all the received messages. Now various messages will be appear on the right side. Click on any email message to read it and the message will be displayed. And one more thing, if message is unread, if you have not read the mail, that will be in a bold title. If message you have already read, that will be in a normal title. It means which mail provide the title that is bold, it is unread message, otherwise other message is already read by the user. Next is replying and forwarding email. How to forward, how to reply for a mail. So you can reply or forward the message by using reply and forward option. Reply option, it is required to respond to a received mail. You have received an email and you want to give back, revert back reply. In that case, you can select the reply or forward option. By default, reply goes to the sender of the message. You can add more recipient if you want to add. And forward option, it is the option that is required to share the mail with other users. You want to send the similar mail to other person. In that case, you will select the forward option. And if you delete the mail, it will go to which folder? It will go to by default in trash folder. It means it will not be deleted from your account. It will move to trash folder. After 30 days, it will get deleted from trash folder. Afterward, it will clean from your account. How to sign out from a Gmail account? Just click on your username. On right side, you are looking P is written. P is the name of user, like Pavan, Parveen, Palvi, what surname is given. As per example, Palvi Gupta name is given. So P is written on the top. Bring your cursor on here and click here. A drop down window will be appear. So in that, last option is sign out option. Click on sign out option. Your account will be sign out. If you delete the mail, it goes to trash folder. Yes, true it is. The mail that you have bold title are called readable mail. No, it's a unread mail. And the mail that have normal font are called unread mail. No, it is a already read mail. So the answer of true false is first is true, second false, and third is false. Next is video conferencing. Video conferencing, it may be described as a method to communicate or to conference between two or more locations where both sound and visions are transmitted. It means audio and video signals are transmitted and received as to enable interactive communication. Because little bit cost is higher, due to its cost, it was originally used by multinational companies that are also known as MNCs. However, as the technology improved, cost gone down. Now it is now extensively in education and commerce. The best example, we are using Zoom app for teaching the students. It is the example of video conferencing. You are looking anywhere but you can join any meeting. Only you require the user ID and password. Video conferencing can save significant amount of money in terms of both traveling cost also and time also. It can also open up new method of communication. It will provide a new platform to communicate with a group of people to enhance the learning experience. So it is a technology as per definition which allows you to do conversation between multiple people among the same or different locations. So basically three components are used in case of video conferencing. First component is conferencing environment. It is a classroom or conference room. And conferencing equipment, it will convert the image and speech of participant into a format that enable transmission to a remote site over the network. It means that will transfer the data from one site to another site. And conference network, it link the site together. So all video conferences must have three basic elements, however simple or complex. And the conference can always be synthesized in the environment, equipment and network. Conferencing is not limited only to talking with someone or a particular participant. Slides from PowerPoint presentation running on a PC may be introduced to illustrate a particular point. So, it is even possible for a PC application to running at one site to be shared with another site so that either site can annotate or take control of the software. It means if you are sitting on any particular computer, you can transfer your computer control to the another computer system also. And it is also known as the concept of data sharing. Generally, it is performed in big companies that are known as MNCs. And the first transcontinental or transcontinental video call between two venues was made in 1964. That was 20th April 1964. It is the important question. When video conferencing came in market, it came in 1964. So types of video conferencing. Video conferencing can be of two types. First one is point to point. Second one is multi-point. Point to point, one person to another person or a group is connected to other. In point to point, the simplest scenario is where one person or group is connected to another. The physical components, what is required? Microphone and camera, which enable the meeting to take place, are often integrated into a desktop computing solution using laptop or using tablet. And it can be combined into a dedicated room-based soft hardware solution. And multi-point video conferencing in which three or more locations are connected together, where all participants can see and hear each other as well as see any content being shared during the meeting. It is known as multi-point. So what is video conferencing? It is a live talk or it is a live link involving both audio and video communication, and it is a live link involving audio only. Teleconferencing is only audio conferencing. Video conferencing is the combination of audio and video. So what are the advantages of video conferencing? First one can do conferencing anytime, anywhere according to requirement. Whenever he is free, he can communicate unless the device is connected to internet. It is a cost saving for traveling, accommodation and staff time. And it provides ability to link several sites simultaneously. It helps to access to remote located experts. And in child abuse or other court proceeding, victims' evidence provided via video conferencing can reduce the potential. And having a set of meeting encourage more control and less time wastage. And what are the disadvantages of video conferencing? Due to the network problem, it can create many problems like the quality of received image can be compromised by the technology. On lower quality links, movement can be jerky. Body language can be lost if movement is jerky and the picture quality is reduced. There may be a delay on the sound that participant need to get accustomed to. It means network delay problem should be there. Suppose I am speaking right now and you are getting sound after 2-3 nanoseconds. And some believe that the atmosphere of a normal face-to-face meeting is lost. It means a personal relationship is getting lost if you are communicating via only video conferencing. Now, next part, that is a live link involving both audio and video communication. Answer is video conferencing. The first transcontinental video conferencing video call was made between two venues. Just try yourself. The answer is 20th April 1964. And video conferencing can conveniently be broken down into three components. Next is e-learning. What is e-learning? It refers to the use of network and communicate technology in teaching and learning process, where E means electronic. And we can use information from internet in our working environment. So it will increase our skill. E-learning has now used in various companies and organizations. Even schools are using for education purpose. The term e-learning is used also in further and higher education to describe the use of web and other internet technologies. So it enhances the skill of teaching and learning process. E-learning describe education using electronic device and digital media. So what are the features of e-learning? The first feature of e-learning is that is non-linear. It is not fixed. Linear is fixed, non-linear it is not fixed. Learner determine how, what and when they access information. They are not bounded. Dynamic process, transformed, personalized, customized, on demand is response to the learner. Whenever we can want to transfer data, we can easily transfer, we can personalize our information, we can customize, or we can set the environmental situations. So it depend upon the demand and just in time system. And learner control, always learner control their own interaction with the content or presentation. It means learner has opportunity for changing or reflection and application. And the major thing is reusability. We can use the content and again. Content of any media that can be chunked down to most granular, meaningful level to allow combination of objects to be assembled and dynamically present. And informal, it means it's not a formal method. It recognizes at least 70% of learning occurs in meeting, in the corridor and break rooms through collaboration in situational communities. And it's a platform independent. You are not bound to a particular environment. It provides a variety of environments. Either it is formal, either it is informal environment. Now, advantages of e-learning. So many advantages are there. E-learning fosters interaction among students and instructor. A teacher and student can interact in a good way. Understanding will be more. Accommodate different learning styles and foster learning through a variety of activities. We can perform a number of activities online in a teaching learning process. It encourage self-paced learning. It means you can learn yourself, whereby student can learn at the rate they prefer. Whatever you want to learn, you can easily learn it. Whatever you prefer it. And it's a convenient method for student to access the study material anytime, anywhere, at any place. It reduces the traveling cost for students or traveling time also. And the major thing, it encourages the students to browse information through hyperlink to site on the wide web. So you can access the information in a complete world from anywhere by using the e-learning process. Afterward, provide context sensitive help. Electronic performance support system to computer system. It helps to the complete task. It can provide a helpful material. It can provide the step-by-step process to each student and teacher. And it encourages students to take responsibility for their learning and succeeding, building self-knowledge and self-confidence. Next is disadvantages of e-learning. E-learning has some disadvantages also, like unmotivated learner who are not motivated, that will perform the poor study because they have not the habit of using this technology. Lack of familiar structure and routine may getting used to. Due to the structure problem, we are not able to perform it properly. Student may feel isolated and miss social interaction, and instructor may not always be available on demand. And it's a slow and unreliable internet connection can be frustrating. And managing learning software can involve a learning curve. You need to learn all the steps. And some courses, like traditional hand-on courses, can be difficult to simulate. And instructor need to learn to be effective online instructor, and hard for instructor to move traditional content online. And it's more time consuming for instructor to provide individual feedback. Now, true false. The letter E in e-learning stands for word electronic. Yes, it is true. E-learning is a platform dependent. No, it's a platform independent, so it is false. Next is e-banking. E-banking stands for electronic banking. It is a service that is provided by the banks in which you have an account and you can access the services of bank as per your requirement. The bank provides a username and password through which you can log in and use the portal of particular bank. And e-portal of bank provides various services like to maintain the account, transfer the money. E-banking allows you to access your account on internet from anywhere in the complete world, and it provides secure communication between the internet and the user. And the major thing, it saves time to move to bank and come back. So e-banking is used to access cash through automated teller machine. The full form of ATM is automated teller machine, or direct deposit of paychecks into checking or saving accounts. So what are the features of e-banking? First feature, account detail. Customer can view anytime their banking account detail for opening a new account balance, download statement, loan and credit card details, etc. And fund transfer, a customer can transfer money to their account or other bank account very easily. And request services, there are so many requests available online, like to issue the checkbook, to issue the demand draft, to payment stop or debit card or credit card, and so many requests we can perform by online transaction. And value added service, it allows customer to pay utility bills, recharge coupons, virtual cards, electricity bill, and so many, or register for banking services, SMS services. Everything is possible in the e-banking. So the term electronic currency refers to the form of digital currency that is electronically created or stored. And the best example, smart card, digital cash, digital checks. These are the example of electronic currency. It means you are having money, but not in physical situation. It is in the electronic form. You can take from anywhere. It is not in your hand. Now, level of e-banking, it can be many level, like basic information. E-banking websites just disseminate information on banking products and services. It only provides the services about the products and services offered to bank customer and general public. And simple transactional e-banking, it allows bank customer to submit application for different services. We can submit the services banking requests online, make queries for their account balance, submit their instruction to the bank, but it will not permit to account transfer. And advanced banking, having all features that allow customer to electronically transfer fund to or from their account, pay bill, conduct other banking transactions also. These are three levels of banking. Now people may use ATM card for withdrawing the cash amount from their accounts. It's a general medium now. Now, one mark important question. Online banking was first introduced in the early of 1980s. In which country? New York, US. What are the advantages of e-banking? First advantage, online banking sites and apps are available 24 by 7. It means 24 hours for all 7 days, and we can access anywhere. And many online bank accounts also provide ATM fee reimbursement also. And customer can make some of permitted transaction from the office or home while traveling using the mobile telephone. And greater customer satisfaction level is there, and it's reduced the transaction cost, and it reduced the load on banking branches also. What are the disadvantages? E-banking is a good service unless the user has internet connection. If you are having a poor internet connection, poor range is there, then you will not able to communicate via banking transaction. and there is always a chance that some miscreant gains unauthorized access to your account. It's generally going on for if your password has been stolen, somebody can use your account and they can steal money from your account also. So do not disclose your account name, username or password to anyone. Now the question is, online banking was first introduced in which country? New York, Australia, New Zealand or England? The answer is New York. E-banking stands for electronic banking. Next topic is e-shopping. It's an online shopping system. It is a process to purchase the product online or services online. And it's going on right now scenarios. People are using a large number of e-shopping services. It provided different type of benefits also. So e-shopping is a form of electronic commerce. It allows customer to directly buy goods from a seller through internet by using a web browser. It is also known as online shopping. And like Amazon.com launched its online website in which year? 1996, while eBay started in 1995. So electronic commerce or e-commerce consists of primarily of distributing the goods, buying, selling, marketing and services of products and services. Now what are the advantages of e-shopping? It saves time, save fuel, save energy. Price comparison is there. Sometimes you're getting discount on online schemes. 24/7 services, online tracking of tracking of your goods. It means you can find out after how much time you will get your product that is placed online. There are some disadvantages also. Shipping rate. Through some companies offer free flat rate shipping, it still may come to a cost. Sometimes it happens the shipping cost is much higher, due to that product is become costly. Waiting, there is a lack of instant gratification, even possibilities of delay. Sometimes it happens due to delivery system, there is some delay in the network and it be when you are seeing the item when you have not required. And lack of significant discount in online shopping. Sometimes it happens you're getting your product in your neighborhood less costly either than online transaction. You're not getting discount online sometimes. And the major thing, problem with refund policy on many sites. Some websites are not providing the refund policy also. And online payment leads to virtual pickpocketing many times. So the first secure retail transaction on the internet was either by net market or internet shipping network in 1994. Again, one more question. The first online transaction, retail transaction are performed by net marketing or internet shipping network in 1994. And the concept of e-shopping was prepared by or designed by Michael Eldridge in UK. In 1979, he connected a modified domestic television via a television line to a real-time multi-user transaction processing computer. So multiple websites are available for buying the product online, like Amazon is there, Jabang is there, Snapdeal is there, Flipkart is there, so many websites are there. So to do e-shopping, following steps will be followed through Amazon. Firstly, open any web browser and type with amazon.in the address bar. Open an web browser and type the address in address bar, that is amazon.com, and enter the key. The Amazon home page will be appear like this. Afterward, next step, click on your order drop down list. Click on start here and create account page here. You can create your account. After creating account, enter your detail in the page. It will ask for your contact number, your name, your address, password, everything you will enter in that account. And click on continue button. It will provide you the passcode, that is known as OTP, on your mobile. You must enter the code and verify the code. After verification, now you will be granted to take the product from Amazon. It's a process of buying the product online by using the services of Amazon. And by clicking on shop by category, when you click on shop by category option, different types of category will be available, like related to books, related to audio product, related to computer, related to education. So many categories there. For example, you are clicking on books. In books, other option is there, children book or education book or some motivational book. You will click on particular book item, so you can choose the product. Afterward, the page will be appear in which you will add the product into the cart. It means you have finalized the product in the cart whatsoever you want to take. And after adding it into the cart, you may click on proceed to checkout. You can check the product has been kept in order list or not. And afterward, after clicking on the cart, you will enter the detail of your delivery address. Whatsoever you're giving, your name, address, contact number, everything you will enter as per the requirement of website. And at last you will click on deliver to this address. And after it will verify whatsoever you entered, just click on continue option. So you may review your order based on all inputs. Whatsoever your input, it will provide the list of input that order has been placed by you, and this is the total amount for that. And after reviewing your order for correctness, click on place your order option. Like you are looking here, total amount it is showing, delivery time, everything it is showing, delivery amount it is showing, item it is showing. Just click on place your order option. So it is all about your e-shopping process by using the Amazon.com. So in next session we will discuss about next topic, that is e-reservation. Till here, if you are facing any doubt, you can ask me anytime by connecting me on my WhatsApp number. It's 999118890. So we will meet in next session with next topic. Thank you. Have a nice day.